Whoops, nearly missed my cue there. Music put me into a bit of a trance. Hello, Spurs fans. Paul Hotspur Hippie here. How you all going? Here, the sun has just set here. Been another beautiful day in Sydney. Oh, winters are tough in Australia. Brr. Um, I don't know what I'm going to talk about as usual. I've just filled in the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust survey. Thought it can't hurt, although most of the questions didn't apply to me because I'm nowhere near London. Um, I don't really know too much about the Supporters Trust. Kind of like the impression I get is they seem well-meaning enough. Um, they put some hard questions to the club last season. They seem to do a lot for, making football available for as many people as possible. Seems cool to me. I mean, the only thing I think about, any organisation really doesn't just apply to Tottenham supporters. When you have an organisation and then a committee and elections and, all that sort of stuff, often that can turn a bit to shit. But from what I've seen of the THST, it doesn't seem to be too bad, really. I did find some of the questions were interesting. I found some of them to be a bit weird, like uh, do you support the idea of a singing area? And I'm thinking, hold the phone, a singing area? Isn't the whole ground a singing area? Or if you have a singing area, well, what if your season ticket's over here and you want to be in with the singers? Are you allowed to sing still? Is a steward going to go, oh, singers are over there? I don't know. I didn't really understand that one. And then that phrase I hate, safe standing. God, safe. World's too bloody safe. I'll. Hi Shamu. Any transfer news? Oracle Paul. Well, I know, man. No, I might get onto that in a second. I'll bring a comment up and waffle on about it. And the other question, like there's a question there, and I think they've put it in before about the Y word, about how you feel about it, and I'm not comfortable with that being in there. I think individual fans are capable of making their own decision. I'd like to think that Jewish fans, even if or any fan really, if they don't want to sing the Y word songs, then just don't sing it. But for me, it holds a very particular meaning, and I mean I don't find it offensive, but then maybe it's not, who am I to say it because I'm not Jewish. But all I can say is that I haven't I haven't personally met any Jewish people that find it offensive, and in fact, I had a Jewish gentleman in my car a few months ago. Look, I'm assuming he's Jewish. I picked him up from a Jewish area. He appeared to have like Jewish Orthodox clothing on, but I might be wrong. And we got talking about football. I said I support Tottenham, and straight away he said, "Oh, you're a Yiddo." And I thought, "Yes, man, that's what I am," and it was cool. And there's a very I feel it's something I feel pretty. I would hate for there to be some sort of dictum from on above about not saying it. You see people like Ben and Sim on We Are Tottenham TV. They're quite proud of saying Yiddo or whatever. And really, to me, it's a badge of honour. It's a badge of honour for me. I'm quite proud to be called that and say that word, because to me, it just it shows us a lot of solidarity for a section of the fans that are discriminated against. It's 2023 and crap like that still goes on. I mean, it boggles my bloody mind, really. And when you hear certain opposing fans shout horrible songs, I think it's a very fitting way to respond. It's like we're all sticking up for each other. So I like it. I mean, that's not to say as the years roll on, maybe attitudes will gradually shift. I'm not, that could always happen as well. I'm not close to that idea at the moment, but I think rather than putting on putting the focus on Tottenham fans to stop saying that word. Maybe focus on some other clubs in the sort of posh London area to stop being so bloody anti-Semitic when they come to Tottenham. Maybe for people like David Baddiel, who finds it offensive that we sing that, maybe he should be talking more to his own Chelsea fans and say, well, what the bloody hell are you doing? You know, because really it's pure, the way I saw it is it's purely in a reaction to, you know, a bit of anti-Jewish hatred. And I've got no time for that, man. I've got no time for people with that sort of attitude. And I'm totally against racism and bigotry of any kind. And I'm very conscious of the power of language. And when people say, "Oh, things are too politically correct or whatever," I find there's often a reason why that's in place, because there are several words that we don't use in day-to-day language, or I don't anyway, that may have been used by people in the past that are just not acceptable, and I don't mind that. I think that's okay. There's plenty of bloody words to use in the English language, isn't there? I don't know why people have to die on a hill about using certain ones that are really a bit on the nose for a lot of people. But for me, the Y word isn't one of them. And if a lot of Jewish people decide that they don't want it anymore, then okay, well then that's fair enough. That's I'll go along with that. But it seems to me at the moment that's if the mood is shifting about that, it's very far away. So I'm more inclined to think that as long as you're not being hateful in the terraces, anything goes really. And I mean hateful up to a point, because you can bag the shit out of other teams in certain ways, but when it comes to certain sorts of discrimination, I hate it. I used to see football in the 80s when there'd be like monkey sounds basically when a black player got the ball. It was bloody horrible actually. And I like to think that Tottenham fans, because it's quite a broad church, and in fairness, Arsenal fans as well, didn't do that to the extent other fans did. I mean, there were tiny pockets still. You're always going to get some idiots, but I'm glad that those days haven't really gone. That's the sad thing, but it's not as bad as it was. I don't think that's my perception. It's not as bad as it was, but I mean, any amount of it is not on in my book. So I filled out the survey because I think one of the first questions is, do you live overseas? And I thought, well, maybe they'll give me some sort of algorithm weighting, but I thought it doesn't hurt to fill it out, really, does it? I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be riding a bicycle to White Hart Lane in the near future, so there's a load of questions that didn't apply. But there were some ones I filled in to do with a bit more history at Tottenham. I think they had some good ideas there, and I put in a couple of my own, and also the lack of communication that Tottenham Hotspur generally has with fans. This FAB whatever. I mean, who knows what that will turn out to be like? I don't know. But I just put I put two simple suggestions in to improve how Tottenham presents its way to the fans. One, change your website so you can read it on a mobile phone without turning it to the side. And two, get rid of that knob end on Twitter that seems to think it's cool to say back to work with all the people in the gym after we've had our arse handed to us at Sheffield United. It's just tone deaf. It's clear that the PR Twitter people are not football fans. They've got no idea. They're just chasing the likes and the retweets and all that, and they're not conscious, because it's probably not their remit, of how Tottenham Hotspur Football Club fans feel about all that stuff. Because I know it actually really annoys me. It just looks like a complete lack of empathy with the fans. The fans that give their money to this club, and really it looks like a lot of the time when I look at those tweets, They don't give a shit about football. They've got no idea about football. They've got no idea of the consequence of on the pitch performances, the consequence of the way that affects fans. They just go, oh no, we've got to tweet something. Back to work. And there's Eric Dyer just, strolling around on an exercise bike. There they are in a field, 10 layers of clothing, not a football in sight. And at the moment, all they seem interested in is flogging the new kit. I mean, I really, okay, I know, I don't need to be told. I know there's a new kit every. I'm pretty damn sure, right? Every Tottenham fan knows there's going to be, 3 new kits every year. You don't need it like, shoved down your throat. You get, you subscribe to Tottenham Hotspur, and I get the notifications, and I think, oh, what's happening here? Oh God, it's Sonny in a kit. It's like, oh my God, I know that's happening, man. I know it. So I don't know. It's up to you. Like if you feel like filling it in, I thought there was no harm. Doesn't do any. Oh, is my mouse working? Yes, it is. Where's my? There it is. So I mean, that was my quick little waffle for the day. But let's have a look through the comments there. Thanks for watching, folks. I'm pleased to say my subscriber rate is now sort of, it's only going up 10 a day now because it was going up 100 because I got a lucky bounce with a video, and it's like 10 a day now, which is, that's what I was kind of expecting from the get-go. So, I'm all right with that, man. I'm not going to pester people. Any transfer news? Oracle Paul. Now, let me see. Fuck all. I did see. I just saw a tweet. I haven't really looked into it. Is Alistair Gold saying that Tottenham are going to sign 2 new centre backs, or centre halves as we used to call them in the old days, to Tottenham? Maybe some of you can, comment what's that about. I've no idea. I just saw the headline. I don't know if that's like an official stance by the club or just one of those rumours, because I heard that last year, man, and nothing happened. Nick Brown, exactly, Paul. Don't know what exactly about, but thanks anyway, man. You're asking Shamu. Morning, audio artisan. Nice to have you around, man. Blue Mountain Yogi Latte. Cool, man. Whereabouts in the Blue Mountains? Because I'm going to be heading up to Mount Victoria fairly soon. Chill out up there, get away from all this concrete shit that's everywhere in Sydney. How much is your house worth? Do you rent or buy? Where do you live? Oh, God, it's so bloody superficial here. So I'm going to get out to the mountains as well. Oh, it's Manny. Oh, is it? Are you Manny? Okay, cool, man. What are you talking about? Are you talking amongst yourselves? I won't intrude into your conversation there. You would score more than Richie Drew in your dressing gown. Well, yeah. I mean, what have you got to beat? 2. 60 million, man. 60 million. I was having a chat with another Spurs fan on the phone today, and we were just sort of stating our general frustration at the state of football as a whole. It's like people don't know how to do the basics anymore. When the ball comes to you, control the ball, one touch, off it goes, run into space. People don't seem to know how to do this sort of stuff anymore. The guys coming at you, don't run away with your arms back, run at them, shepherd them, try and get the ball, limit their options, don't back off. And Richie and a few of our players, like Skip is another one, Sun did it a fair bit during the season. It's like they get the ball, and Lucas Moura did this as well. Wherever they get the ball, like they just run forward with it into two opposing players. They haven't got football brains, and some of them they're lacking technique as well. It's and and this isn't just Tottenham. I find this a lot with watching football. I don't know. There seems to be a lot of basics lost. I mean, even when Tottenham are crap, you didn't lose the ball willy-nilly a lot. There might be contested balls and things like that, but not being able to pass the ball 10 metres is ridiculous, isn't it? How many times did Eric Dyer punt the ball up the pitch 40 metres, and like 1 out of 10 of them would find a player, and I think people have got a bit of confirmation bias, and they think, oh yeah, Eric Dyer, he's got potential, he can play long through balls. When he does it 1 time out of 10, the rest of the time it goes down the throat of an opposing player, or off, or somewhere like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for kicking the ball off if you're in trouble, but when you've got a bit of time on your hands, use your football brain, man. Use your football brain. Don't fuck about in front of your penalty box as well. Get rid of it. If you're going to punt it into row Z, that's the time to do it. Not when you've got a bit of space and you've taken half an hour and 10 touches, then you just go poof to no one. You're just giving when you do that, you're giving the other team time to set up. You're not catching anyone on the hop, are you? Anyway, there you go. Facebook, Twitter, and so on. Yeah, man. Look, Facebook. I don't bother with Facebook at all. I just think it's ridiculous. I think it's become so asinine. Twitter, I don't really engage with people on it. I might say something, or I only engage with it if I agree with someone. I just can't be bothered having fights. It's a complete waste of bloody time, isn't it? Dope Boy Junior, Alistair Gold we're talking about here. He says that every window. Yeah, I'm inclined to think you're on the money there. It's just, we're going to be revamping our defence. I think I've heard that since Toby left. Vertonghen and Alderweireld left. By the way, that was a really good little story by Alderweireld, going back to his boyhood club Antwerp, and scoring in an absolute banging goal in injury time to win them the first league in 55 years. So I'm pretty happy for the guy. That's a pretty magic moment in football, isn't it? Yogi Lardy, man, good. Call him one of these days. Yeah, no worries, man. I don't know if I'll do much talky calling in tonight. Bit tired of, I was out and about, did a lot of walking today. I don't know what else to talk about until you lot fire me up. I've seen a bit of discussion. Let's just talk about maybe Harry Kane for a second. I'll just give you my opinion on Harry Kane. I think he should stay. I think really, like I said in a video the other day, as far as this transfer window goes, I'll be satisfied if we get a good goalkeeper, one centre back minimum. If we get all sorts of other stuff, maybe a left back, that's all good. But those two, they're the crunch positions. And I think if you only have to look at the league table, don't you? Look at the league table; it's obvious. We let in 62 goals. We had so many chances of getting up to third and solidifying fourth that we just chucked away. I don't think we're a billion miles away from that area of the table, really, because we did shoot ourselves in the foot so many times. We scored enough goals. We just let too many in at the other end. And as soon as you get nervous at the back, it spreads through the rest of the pitch, and you find the forwards have to drop back and do a bit more work instead of them concentrating on just, running into space and getting a bit of service and banging the ball in. So I'd be more inclined just to fix up the defence, which we should have been doing for years. And I think I'm not sure why you want to get rid of Harry Kane when he scored 30 goals when we were completely rubbish last year. And he also creates goals. He gets goals at important times as well. I don't know how many points we would have dropped if he hadn't scored in winners and things like that. I just think keep him, because to me, there's a gamble here. If he stays for a year, okay, then there's a chance he might leave next year on a free. Okay, but there's also a chance that if Ange starts to get things clicking a bit, Harry Kane might think, you know what, I'd rather stay here than going somewhere else, because I think this club can win something. I think if we get rid of him now, we remove that possibility, don't we? If we get rid of him now, and I see people touting figures of, selling for 100 million. Well, I haven't seen any bids come in. There's no bids come in, so it's all hypothetical, isn't it? There's no one saying we're going to pay 100 million. You might as well say selling for 500 million or or 20 million. There's no offer coming in. I haven't seen anything. There haven't been any rumours of like Harry being discontent. And I'd be just inclined. Well, you just keep him. He was our best bloody player. Why would we get rid of our best player? I'm thinking purely football here. Keep our best player, because if we get rid of him, that's another area we've got to fix up this year. If we keep him a year, get other areas fixed up, then we can see, how that's affected the balance of the team and what we might need up front should Harry Kane decide to go away on a free. I think keeping Harry Kane just gives us options. That's all. I really do. And like I'm saying, I don't see any bids coming in. I don't see any rumours of him looking around, anything like that. Keep him around. Keep him around, man. Dope Boy Junior, Raya getting closer. Latest news. So, what's the haggling mark down to now? What we up to 39 million and they're 140 or whatever. I mean, Brentford are taking the piss, though, aren't they? They are taking the piss. But I'd like to see. I want to see our business get done now, so we can have a decent pre-season. I don't want. When's the transfer window end? Is it the August 31st, something like that, 1st of September? I don't want players dribbling in then because they've missed the pre-season. Get them in now. Okay, you pay a bit of Tottenham tax on that because we bloody need a goalkeeper, but it's done, isn't it? It's done. Blind Assabat, g'day man, how you going? Toby and Jan with Wanyama and Dembele sitting in front of him. Now you're making my mouth water. It's probably the best setup we've had in decades. Well, I wouldn't say decades, man. I wouldn't quite say decades, but no, I mean it was up there, wasn't it? I'm not going to split hairs with you. I'm not going to debate whether it was or not. I get your point, man. And we did stick it for too long. Yeah. I mean Dembele. They were fun days, weren't they? Fun days, And in my more optimistic moods, I just think we're not overly far away. I know we finished 8th this year, but if you think about how and why we finished 8th, I mean, look at the season before. We finished 4th, and we were on good form with pretty much the same players. Not too much difference. Just everyone kind of went off the boil this year. Maybe that was things going on at the club. Who knows? Playing this shit football. I really think when we've got our defence solid, and I mean solid, man. Who knows? Maybe Dorrington could be part of that setup. Be nice to see him come in. But if we get our defence nice and solid, then when you've got your midfield players, oops, mate of mine, when you've got your defence solid, your midfielders have got a bit more confidence to look the right way up the pitch. They're not like looking back, shitting themselves all the time. And that's what's happened so many times. There's so many games this year and last year, in fact, where the defence just starts fucking around and you can feel a goal coming, and then a goal comes in, and you can see the confidence just sap out the rest of the team. It's like, Harry Kane's up there and Simon Kulu or whatever, and they're thinking, oh, bloody hell, we've got to score more goals now, and the ball's never coming up here because we're sitting back playing dog shit football. So we get the attack, we get the defence sorted, and with Ange's philosophy of going forward, I think I think we're not far away. We might not be far away. I don't know about having getting rid of every player and just selling our best players like Kane and Ramiro's coming in for a lot of stick. I personally think that he's our best defender. He's all right. I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of him. I'd be getting rid of Dyer and Sanchez and Tanganga and Davies before bloody Ramiro. Manny, I'm worried about Ange won't get the quality players Spurs need. Well, it's Tottenham Hotspur, and sometimes that can happen at our club, unfortunately. But what I'm hoping is that Ange is not going to be asked. We've had these win now managers that have. I'm sure they've been demanding huge, expensive players. Ange is a bit more savvy than that. So it's not going to be as, as many pounds on the table. But my worry is it doesn't matter how many pounds on the table, we always end up bloody haggling over things, and I just don't see a lot of other Premier League clubs. I said this in a video yesterday. Admittedly, I don't really look at a lot of news for Tottenham, let alone elsewhere, let alone other clubs. But maybe you lot can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see, the headline I'll generally see when someone signs something is it'll be, this club is interested in that person. A few days later, they've agreed personal terms, and then bang, it's done. Whereas we've come out with, wishy-washy statements like we're going to sign two centre backs, and then Tottenham have shown interest in this player, and then we've got personal terms, and then we get we can't agree on a price. Happens all the time, man. We just don't behave like a big club sometimes. We really don't. And we are. Like it or not, we are. Rob Wallace, and starting on July the 1st, man. Thank you, you've lifted me. I was getting all like, oh, bloody hell. But here we are. And starting July the 1st. Does that leave him enough time to sort out his starting players and get rid of the bad apples? Yeah, I'd say so. Because I think, a lot of when the season ends, there's usually like a couple of weeks holiday anyway, and really the season has only just, I suppose, officially ended. So I think so. I think Ange will have been he can't help himself, man. He'll have been doing his research already. Um, uh, I think it's time. I think it's time. I I think Alistair Gold was also reporting that he's been having a meeting with Levy about transfers and all that already. So you know, I'm sure if Ange doesn't think that gives him enough time, he's going to be doing what he's reportedly been doing, which is having chats with people, even though he doesn't officially start. I trust the guy 100%. And if Ange comes out and says, Harry Kane doesn't fit into my plans, that's why we've moved it on, then I would agree with Ange. Ange knows bloody football better than me. Well, I'm just some internet nutter like you lot. Blind ass about, I'm good, brother. Got work at noon though. Oh, yeah. I hope you're well. Thanks, man. I hope you're well too. Yeah, a nice chill day, man. Nice chill day. Did a bit of fishing. Caught nothing as usual. Didn't even get a bite today. I'm coming to the conclusion, right, that those soft plastic lures are bullshit. And I stuck with them because I remember, when I first started fishing, it was only within a couple of days I caught something. So I think I've got that confirmation bias in my head that the bloody things work. But I'm not so sure anymore. Like yesterday, I just put a bit of chicken on it, and I got I had a couple of tussles, which is part of the fun. RJ67. Sometimes we've never behaved like a big club for 23 years. When did we ever have a transfer window that showed Spurs are ambitious? Yeah, fair comment. Fair comment. I would go back further than that, mate. I would go back further. We started stopping being a bit, behaving like a bit. Look, I am saying we are a big club. We're not behaving like it. I agree, but Tottenham Hotspur is a big football club. It definitely is. But you're right. But I would go back before 23 years. Alan Sugar. Even then, we might have bought in, a couple of good signings, but there still wasn't any ambition there. I mean, Teddy Sheringham left to go to Man United for a couple of years because Tottenham didn't show ambition. I'm sure he wasn't looking for much, but he could just sense the vibe of the place that we're not really interested in, fighting for anything, even if we're, not necessarily winning stuff, but we're not being competitive. We're not doing enough to be in the mix. Really, I would say we started going down that path in 1983, man. 1983. So, that's 40 years, not 23 in my book. It just took a while for the bullshit to take effect. I remember, it was when Irving Scholar took over. We started, he started doing businesses we started selling our best players or letting players go that I don't know why. That's when we started acting less like a football club or a big club. We became more of a selling club. We'd have a player when they got good, flog them off. As I say, it took a few years for that to really kick in. So we did enjoy success for a lot of the rest of the 80s. We had some really good times as well. And then Sugar took over, and we had success in '91. But even when you look at the '91 team, and we finished third in the league and won the FA Cup, you look at we could have improved that team a little bit. It was all resting. A lot of it was resting on Gascoigne and Lineker. I'm not discounting the rest of the players, and it's like they all tried, man. They all tried. They all put a shift in, unlike what we've seen in the last couple of seasons. But yeah, that's Tottenham Hotspur. But my hope is that before Irving Scholar, we did actually behave like a big club with ambition. And as far as I'm aware, the fans haven't changed. The fans are still there because the fans are there for life. I'm not aware of anyone saying to their kids, don't do what I do. Don't follow Tottenham Hotspur. So that's what I mean. We're still a big club. We've still got a lot of fans that love the place and are very passionate about the club. And it's various ownerships that have kept us down. Our natural state is to fly high. Is to aim so high that even in failure there's an echo of glory. I mean, Bill Nicholson, man. I'm hoping at least Ange can bring a little bit of that flavour back. I think people are going to be surprised with what Ange can do. I think that he's going to make it almost impossible. If he's with us 4 years, I think he's going to make it almost impossible for us not to act like a big club without it being completely obvious to all the fans. There's some fans that aren't quite there yet, and we shouldn't be poking the finger at them. Some fans just want to go and enjoy the football. I think we'll get there. We'll get there someday. Look, we're going to get there someday. ENIC is not going to be there forever. Maybe, how old's Levy? He must be older than me, surely. And Lewis and all that. In another 10, 20 years, are they going to be there? Probably not. I might still be around to see who's next coming in. Maybe the Premier League bubble would have burst a bit and football would get back to being like good. Because like I was saying, I was talking to the mate earlier, and I think the standard of football is shit. I'm not pulling any punches. It is generally shit. Where are the where are the great footballers at the moment? And I mean great footballers. And we'll go outside of Spurs for a minute. Like Paul Scholes, people like that. Where Fat Frankie, Steven Gerrard. Where are these people? This doesn't seem to be around at the moment. I know different clubs have different fan favourites, but they're not anywhere like that. Nothing like that. Crazy times. And I think that's there's going to be a ceiling on how popular the Premier League can be. Other leagues, I've seen so many changes in who are the top league in Europe in my lifetime. I've seen Italy be at the top. Even the Bundesliga was at the top, I'd say, in the 70s. The Dutch league was around and about. Spanish league, English league was kind of second fiddle a lot of the time. So every dog has its day, and European leagues are having a bit of a tough old time at the moment. But who's to say it's always going to stay there? Everything changes, man. The only thing that what is it? The only thing that doesn't change is change. Now that's almost right, isn't it? The only thing that doesn't change is things change. Something like that. I don't know. I don't want to disappear up my own arse. Dennis Denudo, the vibe. Yeah, man. That's a funny old film, isn't it? I love Dennis Denudo. It's the vibe. If you haven't seen the film The Castle, that's a hilarious one. I love Eric Banner doing his kick boxing practice. Brilliant. In the 1991 FA Cup Scholar was chairman 1991. Sugar took over a year later. It was 92, was it? Oh well. Oh well. They're sorry. I get my years wrong when these knob ends are concerned. They're all very similar to me. I just think we've seen a natural progression in shit really. I don't think Scholar was a good owner at all. Really don't. I don't know. I'm not getting this. Are you like sticking up for Alan Sugar here? I mean, do me a favour, mate. Hopeless. F4. I don't know. F4. I don't know. Don't know what that means really. Alan Sugar, right? He used to go in the dressing room at half time. You can see interviews about you find any ex-man or I mean I've seen Darren Anderton and Steve Perryman have very unsavoury stories about Alan Sugar and Claude Littner, is that his name? The slaphead with the attitude, you know, cutting costs by not having water on the coaches, having a go at Steve Perryman because he allowed Ray Clements and his Barnet team use the training facilities. Saying how much do you get paid for that? It's like, well, he's doing a favour. Football is a bit of a family sometimes. And Steve Perryman said, well, you know, he said they're not to play here again. And Steve Perryman said, well, good luck next time you want to buy one of their players. You need a few relationships in football. But Alan Sugar, the way he treated Darren Anderton is disgusting. Kind of, enticing him to play when he shouldn't, when he was still injured. That's not football thinking. That's just business thinking. No, we ain't got because we didn't have a huge amount of good players, so we've got to force bloody Darren Anderton to play when he shouldn't be. And then how do we reward Darren Anderton? We call him sick note. It's absolutely disgraceful. Dennis Denuya yelling at the photocopier. Yeah, man. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Not sticking up for Sugar, just stating fact he was as bad, if not worse. Yeah, we have just had a bloody bad run with ownership, man, haven't we? You know, it's it's awful. It's awful. I get fed up with talking about it, actually. I mean, but it's something I think about from time to time. It's especially when we're talking about transfer seasons, and there's not a lot happening. There's no games being played. I know in these times, this is where my mind drifts more to, well, what the fuck are we doing as a club, sort of thing. When the football starts, I like to try and park all that out of the way, because if I'm talking about it all the time, it's not going to change anything. But I like to focus on the football. We do actually still play the game of football, and that's what I enjoy. I haven't really enjoyed it much for the last 4 years, but even through the Sugar years and the and the Scholar years and the Lever years, there has been something generally to enjoy. It's just that we haven't kicked on. That's all. That's been the frustration. Is we've actually had some good teams, entertaining teams, even not so good teams that still have a crack. Um, and I enjoy watching that. So when the season starts, I'm probably not going to go banging on about it so much. Plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. The more things change, the more when there's lots of change, it is the thing. Yeah. Uncle Cyril. Oh, with the VW, I tell you what, don't you be driving that. I've told you this before. Mark Cousins, he might be snooping around soon. He's gonna be eyeing your VW badge, because that's one of the 3-foot ones, isn't it? So And I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to any little bit of football news to talk about. I'm looking forward to Thursday. Thursday, when the football fixture list comes out, that's something to talk about. It's football. I don't have to talk about bloody ownership and Levy and Enoch and all that shit. I can just talk about the fixture list. I'm going to be on. I'm going to be doing a stream on with David Harris on the Irish Hotspur about it. I think we're going to be on live as it happens. I think that's what his plan is. Hopefully, I'll remember. I think he's doing that Thursday morning. It'd be nice to have a fun chat. Wet the whistle a bit. Wet the whistle. What are you hoping for? Let's have a bit of speculation now, eh? What are you hoping for the fixture list? Are you hoping for a bit of easy games at the beginning to get warmed up, or maybe get a few tough ones where we're going to get maimed anyway, and finish strong playing Luton Town home and away twice in a week? There's swings and roundabouts in it. What do you lot think? Have you got any kind of preference? Are there any conspiracy nutcases out there in internet nutterland that think that there's going to be some sort of Premier League skullduggery? I'm always looking forward to the year. For the time, it happened every year at Spurs where the fixture list would come out, and then a few weeks later you'd see a thing in the program saying this because of Yom Kippur, this fixture's been moved. And I'm thinking this happens every year. Can't the Football League just assume that Tottenham really don't want to play on that Jewish day, that special day. It's not rocket science, is it? But it's every year. Oh, we've got to move it because of Yom Kippur. Oh, yeah. Well done, mate. Why does Tottenham have to go cap in hand? Can you please move it? I mean, it would be a nice gesture if it wasn't on that bloody day in the first place, wouldn't it? Shamu, personal terms 100% agreed for Raya. Just discussing final fears, but yeah, well, I mean, that's it. It's the same as yesterday, isn't it? That was the story yesterday, and depending on what reports you hear, look, who knows what the truth is. Brentford won 40 million. We want to give 35 or 38.5 or 15 or 2. I don't know. I don't really give a shit. I just care about. When I see the guy with the shirt, then that's all I'm worried about. The speculation, even though it gives me stuff to talk about now I'm doing a stream, it's not really stuff that interests me too much. And besides, there's loads of streamers that do that shit way better than me. There's people that, I mean, in fact, I would say most Tottenham YouTubers are over that sort of shit way more than me, man. I mean, Irish Hotspur does it. I've seen Henry Wright do a fair bit of it. We Are Tottenham TV are always on top of that sort of stuff. Mia, Spurs Between the Lines, she's on it as well. Yeah, I'm just a lazy hippie man, I'm not into all that because I'm more interested in realities than hypotheticals sometimes. But having said that, let's have a look at Twitter, see if there's any old guff here that we can talk about. Because you lot give me nothing, so I've got to do my own research now. You're making me work for it, aren't you? Usually I could just sit back and let you do all the work, and I can just chat out any old bollocks. But you're putting the pressure on, man. You're putting the pressure on. Okay, there's the Tottenham survey. Oh no, up to you, man. I didn't find the survey too hard to do. In my mind, it can't hurt, but you do what you want, man. Let's have a look here. Enemy. Mickey Hazard doing some charity work as usual. He's a good egg, man. Mickey Hazard. He's fantastic, isn't he? He was brilliant. What a brilliant player. Fucking hell. Superb. I'm so glad he came back to Tottenham. So glad that he could finish his career at home, Homegrown player. Brilliant. Nice story, that. Should never have got rid of him. Never. That was Scholar. Wanted to cash in on Mickey Hazard, Look where that got us when we sold Glenn Hoddle and we got no one to replace him. Useless. Okay, so Tottenham plan to bring in 2 new centre-backs this summer. Alistair Gold. Heard it before. I'll wait till it happens. Everyone's saying do the survey, so I've done it. So I wish, isn't AI advanced enough so I could just say at my phone, I've done the fucking survey. Just don't show me tweets about the survey. I've done it. I had a bit of a muck around with AI yesterday for the first time, like images, because I used to do a little bit of art back in the day, and I mean, no doubt it's clever, but it's not art. I look at it and find it just looks weird. There's no emotional meaning or anything behind it. But that's what it's easy though, isn't it? Easy. Just like, robot footballers coach the shit out of. We need a little. I think we need a bit more art in the world and a little less science. I'm a bit over this hard and fast black and white shit. I'm after the textures. Football's going that way. It really is. What's this? Here's something Lily White Rose is saying. Understand Jamaica are considering a senior call up for academy player Tyrese Hall. Oh, well done, man. 17-year-old. Okay. Well, what's he doing knocking around? Well, let's get him sitting on the bench. If he's got an international call up, I don't care what country it is. You can't be shit and get a country call up. Ryan Mason is staying. Well, anyone have any thoughts on that? About Ryan Mason staying? I'm a bit 50-50 about it. Not too fussed one way or the other. A bit of Fabrizio Romano. Journalist claims player wanted by Spurs is keen on a Premier League move. All right, I'll click. I'll take the bait and click it. Who's this going to be about? Yagish Sabun Kuoglu. Galatasaray. Oh no, that's the journalist. Galatasaray defender Victor Nelson. Never heard of him, but I've never heard of anyone. So is that good? Anyone got any thoughts on that? Let's have a look here. It's really, it's not. I want to get cracking on this transfer window. Just get it out and get it done, man. Get it done. What we buggering around at, dragging our heels. I don't see the point in that. What we're gonna think we're gonna pick up bargains late in the day after everyone's come back from, Asia and Australia, and then hello, I've just signed for Tottenham, and Ange is going, well, fuck me, we've already sorted out what we're gonna do. Okay, you're a bit late at the party. Just get the bloody people in now. Anyone who wants to move, they're not gonna there's no player I reckon at the moment that, as of today, wants to stay at their club and then come the end of the transfer window will want to move. Anyone who wants to move now. So let's get out there. Let's get the Tottenham Hotspur intelligence network and find these players and bloody get them in. Right, Liam. Nelson is a Danish defender. I haven't watched him in person, but he strikes me as a Longley-esque. That's your gut feel, is it, Liam? That's not good, is it? That's not good. We need a bit better than that, don't we? We need a lot better than that. Lot better. From Denmark, okay. Okay, so he likes long passes. Yeah, but is he a good defender? Not sure. Probably still better than what we have though, but far out, man. We don't want to be inching ourselves. This is, our defence is the key area we need to get the fuck sorted out. We really do. And just buying someone in because he's better than Eric Dyer just isn't good enough, is it? And you're right, I agree with you there. Like Longley, once he's got the ball, he can move it around. He's all right with it. But as a defender, Longley he's almost like in the Eric Dyer mold. He's like, no, he's not as bad as Eric Dyer. Like Longley, he's got, I'd say, more of the attributes of a midfielder, but he's not good enough to be a midfielder. So he plays in defence, where those kinds of ball at the feet skills look in relation better. But as a defender, he's crap. He can be outrun. I've seen him do a couple of blocks in, but I've seen Ben Davies put a couple of blocks in. But that's not, you know, I don't like, when I did used to play after my goalkeeping spell, I was a defender, I was a fullback, and I was crap at football, but I could defend, and it just really frustrates me that. But I used to love it as well. I used to absolutely love giving someone a little touch up and not letting them pass me. But it looks like defenders these days, or defenders at Tottenham, they're all about. That's why I said, in that Eric Dyer video a while ago, striking a pose. Steve Perryman used the phrase "too cool for school." They don't want to. They don't want to put any hard yards in. They're just, maybe looking for the sizzle reel. And it doesn't matter if you do a few fuck ups, because when you do your sizzle reel, you're only going to put the bits in you do that look all right. And Romero seems to be the only one who wants to get in there, get the ball off someone. Bit of aggression. I don't mind it. I think he needs to temper it a little bit, perhaps, yes, but not get rid of it. I think he's all right. Yeah, I agree. Well, okay, that's cool. Um, I don't know how long I can really string this out. I'm just looking here. It's just like I'm trying to think of what this period of time is like. Okay, no, Liam's giving me something here. What have we got, Liam? I've often referred to Longley as the French Eric Dyer. I think he's slightly better, but I get what you mean, man. Yeah, guy is just so slow. He is, and poor defensively. Yeah, okay, he's still better than Dyer Sanchez and probably Davis too. But I mean, fuck me, I probably am. Put me in pre-season, I'll probably be better than Dyer. No, I'll get the ball off someone. You might only get like 10 minutes out of me for a game, but in that 10 minutes, I guarantee I'll be better than Eric bloody Dyer. Yeah, it's the standard. It's low standards. Low standards at Tottenham. We're signing Longley as a backup. We should be signing players that go straight into the first team. No questions asked. Straight into the first team. And I'm not even looking for the Bastoni and Gvardiol. I thought Gvardiol was fantastic. You don't even have to do it, but just be a bloody defender. Just if I can tackle someone, anyone can. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we've got defenders that don't defend and don't like defending. Like I said the other day, I thought this through, right? If you put traffic cones in our penalty area, it would be harder for the opposing team because they would have to have at least a bit of ball control to get around the cones. And they might, heavy touch, lose the ball. But with our defenders, it's worse than traffic cones because they just back off. They stand sideways to give them even more, vision of where they want to go. Back off, back off, back off. And then, boof, they get a shot off. Well, then they do the hands behind the back, kneel down like that. Huge, massive gap between their legs. Goal every fucking time. You can see it coming, man. You can see it. I saw it so many times last season. You can almost see the point where the opposing team figures it out. It doesn't take them long. And we saw what happened towards the end of the season. We were conceding goals, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, because very quickly the other teams realised, fucking hell, if we run at these centre backs, they just back off, and we can just get a shot off. Sooner or later we're going to score, aren't we? We're relying on this. I hate it. The whole arms. I want to go the arms behind the back thing, right? I mean, how can you move properly when you're doing that for a start? How can you move properly? And I get why they're doing it, and I still disagree with it. The reason they're doing it, whether they've been coached by some twat or they're doing it off their own bat, is because of the VAR. and how dicey handballs can be, right? But let me put it this way. If you're like in a normal stance, right, and a player's coming at you and you're in a normal stance and you manage to narrow down their options and maybe they kick the ball, well, how many times is that actually going to hit someone's arm? How many times is that actually going to hit someone's arm? You know, it doesn't happen every time, does it? It doesn't happen often at all. May happen once every couple of games, something like that. And even if it does hit the arm, you know, as long as you're not looking intentional, it's not going to be a handball. I know VAR that has muddied that because, you know, it can look like someone's being deliberate in slow motion when in fact, you know, the thing about VAR is we don't play football in fucking slow motion, do we? We play it in real time. So when you're making your VAR decisions, why are you slowing everything down? That's not what the ref sees, is it? It's not what the linesmen are seeing. Why do you slow it down? When you slow it down, you're just altering reality completely. So that could mean that when you're running for a ball, it might look like you're having a stride. It might look like you're putting your arm out to hit the ball away, when in fact you're just running normal. So anyway, so given that, the number of times when an attacker's in the box and gets the ball off, given that it rarely hits the bloody arm, and even then it's not always handball, the chances of that resulting in a goal from a penalty are way, way, way less than giving goals away because you're off balance and you've got your arms behind your back and you're standing sideways like a bloody lemon. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why are they doing this? I don't want to see. Stop doing it, man. You can't defend with your arms behind your back. You know, you're trying to. You know, I mean, apart from giving you a bit of balance so you can be a bit more nimble, it is more off-putting for the attacker when you're side on like a fucking shadow. It's horrible. It gives the attacking player confidence. Anyway, there you go. Thing is, we don't need big namers like Bastoni and Vardiol. We just need solid, reliable defenders. I know, man. Tarkowski, you know, yeah, he's not 200 million, is he? I'm not saying buy Tarkowski, but I get what you're saying. Just a bog standard, decent defender. You know, easy, easy. Gary Wellesby, any relation to Elton Wellesby? You don't look like him, so I'd assume not. I used to be a defender, and my first priority was to stop the other team from scoring. Oh, oh my God! We're in the presence of a football genius. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Anything else defenders could do was a bonus. Exactly. That's why I managed to. That's why I managed to get games in a team because I was shit. I couldn't do anything, but I could defend. And all I knew is when I got the ball, I just lump it up the pitch, and it's our winger's going to get it, or in the middle, and central midfielder's going to get it. It's not hard. And I was serious. I was bloody useless, but I could still get in a team. You know, not any high level or anything, but have a knock around and play some games and shit. Strasbourg Steve, how you going, man? I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. There's no football brains in here. There's no football brains in here. Not me, anyway. Yeah, you need your arms for balance and momentum. I'd always prefer my defenders. Oh, when you say my defenders, do you do any coaching, Liam, or are you just sort of like saying my defenders is in Tottenham or something like that? To take the risk of a potential handball than be striking iron every time, every day of the week, man. Every day of the week. You know, and it's kind of forgivable, isn't it? If you do somehow give a VAR handball away because you're trying to do the right thing, you can that's okay, you know? It's unlucky. But when you give a goal away from doing fuck all, that's unforgivable. Unforgivable. And as a defender, when you do get the ball right in front of your penalty area, don't start farting around with it. Get it up the pitch. How many times have I seen that this year and last year? Eric Dyer faffing around, half an hour, 10 touches. Oh, I've lost the ball, it's a goal. Or, I'm standing there and the player comes in, oh, just past 5 metres and it's a goal. It's so unthreatening, isn't it? Unthreatening. Gary Wasby, what's wrong with defenders defending midfield? You know what? Football's a simple game. It's not hard, is it? It really isn't hard. So I'm sure you're going to sum it up perfectly here, Gary. What's wrong with defenders defending? Midfielders running around a lot and passing forwards, yes. Hopefully a player like Hoddle, Gazza, Ginola. I mean, that's ideal, isn't it? And class attackers who can put the ball in the net. I know, man. It really isn't. It isn't that hard. Yeah, defenders stop the ball going in, give it to the midfielders who faff around a bit and confuse people, and they give service to a striker who's always doing runs into spots and areas, and then they're the ones that. That's it. Done. We've won the league. We've won the quadruple doing shit like that. You ain't gonna win a fucking quadruple with your arms behind your backs. Oh, here we go, Jose. Buenos dias, amiguita. Ah, buenos dias. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Bebo in Sydney. Que hora es? It's 6 hours 18. Ah, 18. Look, man. You know, and isn't it like what are we missing, folks? What are we missing? Like, because I mean, I'm assuming that we're a bunch of idiots. What do we know? But you know, here we are. We apparently seem to be knowing more about football than a lot of people involved in the game. But you know, what do we know? You know, apparently football's a really difficult game now, isn't it? So here's Liam, or goalies who can keep the ball from the net. Who'd have thought, eh? Bloody hell, man. You might get a job at Man City with, that's like revolutionary. We brought Liam in, and he just said to our goalies, like when the ball, like your job is to get a bit of your body in the way so the ball doesn't like ripple the netting. Don't get all this stuff about modern goalkeepers needing. Yeah, oh, dude, man. Oh, you're a man after my own heart. I mean, look, I understand it to a certain extent because of the no pass back rule. So, and I didn't mind that change in the rule because it did stop some of you might be young, I don't know, but you know, back in I don't know, maybe before 1990 or something like that. Let's guess. Um, you could pass back to your own keeper and they could just pick it up and then just fart around and waste a bit of time for it with it. And watching it, I used to hate Liverpool. Liverpool used to do that all the time, man. Liverpool, and they'd roll it out to a defender, then someone would go up and then they just pass it back to the keeper, pick it up again, roll it out. So the no back pass rule was introduced to cut that shit out. But I agree, Liam. Like any time I see a goalkeeper with a ball at their feet, I start shitting myself because how many times have you watched a game where the goalkeeper just slices it? You know, sometimes under a bit of pressure, sometimes under no pressure. Where I don't mind the keeper, just hoof. The ball comes to you, just whack the bloody thing, just hoof it, boof. I'm all right with that. If as long as they're a good shot stopper, all the rest I don't care about, man. I mean, I don't mind a bit of distribution, but they shouldn't have to be. Yeah, they play with their hands. That's the thing they can't do that other people can't. Oh, he's a distant cousin. Oh, oh God, that was years ago. He was on, wasn't it? Funny. Elton Wilsby. I think he was on. I remember he was on London TV. I don't know if he was on he was on ITV, wasn't he? Was it LWT or Thames or whatever? It's all just one boring ITV Borg now, isn't it? Used to be like all regional and quirky. Used to get like weirdo quiz shows from I don't know, was it up north? Tyne Tees Television, Mr. and Mrs. I used to like Mr. and Mrs. because the host called Derek Beatty. I could pretend he was my uncle. just just weird oddball old country. That was Southern TV. Got Jack Hargreaves just talking like old country shit about making leather straps for horses and whatnot, smoking a pipe. In fact, if you ever saw the Far Show, they did. There was a Bob Fleming character. I'm pretty sure that was based on Jack Hargreaves back in the day. Strasbourg Steve, that lad from Galatasaray. Okay, it's fantastic. You reckon? Okay. Him and his partner at right back, Sasha Bowie, were great defensively. Very combative but disciplined. Okay, well that's a thumbs up. That's cool. Is Mia? Morning, Mia. With a little black sunshine. Oh, unless that's just the way it comes up on my screen. Oh. Liam, people just love to make things more complicated for everything. They do, man, don't they? Football is simple. It really is. It is the simplest. Why is it the most popular game in the world? Because anyone can play it, really, can't they? Anyone from the age of 4 to the age of 90. There's a group of blokes not too far from here. They've got an over 60s little comp going. Anyone can play it, man. Like it's not like American football. You've got to be all like dotted lines and shit. Football's football. Which is why I'm more for the old school, like the Harry Redknapp kind of manager. Brian Clough. It's more mental with them. It's more about getting the best out of players that they know have got the ability. But as for actually, you hear old players and they'll and when they're asked about team talks from the likes of, I'm just wondering. Even Bill Nicholson, I don't think, before a match, he wasn't there with a chalkboard, dotted lines and shit, because our players were so good, they knew how to play football. I think it's almost like footballers these days, they don't know how to play football, or they're too scared to play football. And these like domineering coaches, like a Pep or a Klopp, that are very dictatorial about patterns of play and things like that. I don't know. It's weird. What's wrong with having a group of 11 men or women if you're playing the women's game? But you know what I'm trying to get at. A group of grown ass bloody men that understand how to control a football, kick a football without giving it away. And then really, what tactics do you need? If they've got football brains like Bill Nicholson once, they can figure out how to deal with the other team if they've got an extra player here or one less player there. If they've got football brains, they can spot it and play to it. They don't need to be fucking told. Jose, keep up the good work, my man. No worries. Thank you very much, dude. Liam, sounds a bit more promising about Nelson. Yeah, it does, eh? It does, eh? Um, it's speculation, though. That's the thing. I mean, we get linked with so many players during this silly season, and nothing happens. Liam, I watched the Super League. Oh, right, man. You. So I mean, you're just football hungry, aren't you? You can't get enough. That's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Victor Nelson is a good defender. All right, man. Good enough for Strasbourg, Steve. It's good enough for me. Gary Wellsby. Brian Clough said football was a simple game made difficult. Yeah. He shouted to an attacker in a training video, "Get in the box. That's what I pay you for." Yeah, man. Oh, dude. It's frustrating. I mean, when I see it was so clear last year that the Tottenham players, particularly our defender, no, not particularly our defenders. I'd include Skip and Højbjerg in this mix as well, and also in certain parts of the season, Kulu and Son. I mean, Kane was about the only bloody player that. That was just shooting fish in a barrel. Harry Kane getting the Player of the Season award last year, wasn't it? I mean, there was no one even close to him. No one even close. And it just seems to be that our players are nervous, or they just having either they're nervous or they don't know what to do. I'm hoping, if they're nervous, that can be, brainwashed out of them. But if they just genuinely don't want to know what to do, but the number of players I saw with heavy first touches, Richarlison was shocking at it last year. First touch bounced off his shin 20 yards away. Sonny did it as well. First touch just out of his reach. You never saw that sort of shit with old players. And I'm not even talking you have to even go to the likes of our best midfielders like Ozzy and Hoddle. It was generally that nearly all footballers could do that basic shit correctly, and winning or losing a game was based on, intensity and tempo, or just, even, better ability. But you wouldn't get often, you wouldn't often see a defender like ours last year where people can just walk around and stuff like that, or, outfield players that just always run in a straight line into two opposing teams. It just, I don't know why it's happening, man. What the fuck's going on in our game? What's going on? Yeah, it's your screen. It's a nice yellow one. I feel all warm and basky. You're at the beach. Oh, cool. Which beach are you at, man? If it's Brighton, I hope you got a cushion with you. Oh, yeah, okay, blind ass about when Harry Kuehl. So I think you've seen the same interview as me, man. When Kuehl joined Celtic's coaching staff, he said it took him 2 weeks to learn Ange's system, even though it seems complicated. It is really simple. Yeah, it is. I think it is. It's not. It's not like a completely drilled in. It's just a few basics. And I think if it's the same interview, you would have heard. I was talking with the Irish Hotspur about this earlier today. Kuehl's there saying he had to kind of like recoach wingers into like, okay, right, when you get the ball, you run up and you go past people. You kick the ball and you run past them. You don't kick the ball and then fall over looking for a free kick. You know, we did this all the time last season, looking for a free kick all the time. Instead of you know getting past a player, well then they're out of the game, aren't they? They're out of the game for the next little bit. This is how you win games of football. You get the ball past a player, and someone less to worry about. It's simple, isn't it? It's simple. It's simple. What do I know? I'm just some bloody random internet idiot. I don't know. But I thought that was hilarious when Cool saying it. It's like it teach players to run with the ball and take players on and go past them. I mean, that was always what a winger did. A winger was always generally, it was like they were your fastest players, wouldn't it? Wingers were fast, and they just run off they go, into the box, goal, easy. Strasbourg Steve, yeah, I love football, but I'll watch any league around the world. Go on, you man. Like I said, it's a world's game. It is. It is there, and there are good. But I'm poo pooing but I'm poo pooing mainly what I see in the Premier League these days. The league that's held up as the highest falutin football that you'll ever see. To me, a lot of it looks like a load of crap to me. And actually, when I don't watch a lot of too much other football, nowhere near as much as you, Steve. But I found when I was watching Scottish football, following Celtic for the last couple of years, to me that looked like better football. Okay, maybe I suppose if you put them in the Premier League, they would struggle or something. I don't know, but it looked like more of a game of football. They were doing the basics better. When I go and watch non-league games here, I'm going to go and watch my daughter play on the weekend, and it looks like they're actually playing football. I'll tell you what, I was pretty proud of her. Pretty proud of her the other week. She's a midfielder. She's pretty good. She scores lots of goals, and she gave away 3 penalties. I was like, yeah, that's it. Get stuck in, my girl. Get stuck in. I was very proud of her. No fear. Brilliant. And she gave the penalties away because the other team was going to bloody score. So what are you supposed to do? She got away with it. Didn't get carded or anything. Beautiful. The perfect crime. Love it. Love it. bit shithousery from my own flesh and blood. Ah. Liam says, with Eric Dyer, we need to take it a step further. Instructions, Eric, stick a leg out. I know, stick a leg out. Or I'll tell you what, you could even make Eric Dyer a better player by saying, Eric, just stand still. Don't back off from the player. Just stand there. It'd still be shit, but it would still be better than he is now. Just don't move. Don't move. Let them dribble it around you. They might fuck it up, Eric. That would be better. Eric, stop watching the ball. Tell you what, I'm gonna have to lie down a bit. There's a few people in here now. Okay, the chat's doing their job now. Thanks everyone in the chat. I feel like I can keep going for a bit now. I'm not drying up. Thanks, folks. I really enjoy it when you sort of give me stuff to talk about. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I'm assuming you find it mildly entertaining. Otherwise, you would be what time is it? 6:30. You would be watching a current affair if you live in Australia to find out the latest crap neighbours story. Oh well, they got too much. They got so much shit in their back garden. I've called the council and they won't do anything about it. Oh, what are you going to do about it? Ah, fuck off. It's the same every bloody week, that program. Moondog, yes man. How you going? Big up, Paul, my man. I hope you're having a great day tonight. I'm on a roof at the moment, rebuilding it. Oh man, so you do proper work. You're a proper worker. Not one of these pin pushing keyboard tappers like I used to be. Proper work. Good on you, man. Good on you, man. Like if I had my time again, I would have probably gone more into the arts sort of thing. But failing that, I would have done proper work like Sparky or something like that. I went down the wrong track, man. Oh, okay. This be interesting? Steve says, I agree, Paul. The Premier League quality is overrated as hell, and I watch other leagues. Well, okay. You watch other leagues. So riddle me this, Steve. What leagues real nice and spicy to watch? A few years ago, I was watching a bit more of Argentinian and Brazilian football. I don't know why I kept going on. Didn't pursue that, but what sort of leagues ring your bell, man? But yeah, Premier League quality is bullshit, isn't it? It's crap. It's just so conservative, and there's no individuals. You know, we've got the best league in the world. No, people confuse money for goodness. I think it's definitely the richest league in the world, but it's not the best. No way. Liam, push and run tactics 1-2 pioneer, but Peter McWilliam. Oh, hang on. All right, I'm learning something here. So the 1-2 was because I always credited Arthur Rowe with doing this, but you're saying Peter McWilliam in the 1920 Spurs team. Okay, well I might have to look a bit more into that. I didn't know that at all. See, isn't that the great thing about being a football fan? You always learn something. That's great. So was Peter McWilliam around when we won the cup in 21? Didn't know that. Didn't know. Fascinating, because I always thought, because Arthur Rowe and the Push and Rush team, and also he was involved with Pushcast at one point, and so we can kind of maybe lay claim to that more total football style of play, but maybe it was started even earlier, bloody 1920s. So what you're saying is, Liam, Tottenham invented all this bloody fancy football 100 years ago. 100 years ago. Ha! Amazing. So I can accurately compare and contrast effectively. I mean, look. I mean, it's only opinion. It's not going to be fact, is it? But your opinion is going to be more valid than mine, I reckon. Until I follow what you're watching. I agree with you about Scottish football, by the way. Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was a lot more meat and skin in the game. And I like the way that there's lots. You go to these weird and wonderful small grounds in rural areas in the Highlands, There's a lot more variety. The fans are a lot more like down and dirty with it, and the players are playing like they give a fuck. I don't see that in the Premier League. I see a lot of. I mean, look, like remember there was one match in the season. Even Pep's talking about his team, saying, my team, they're not playing with anything. How many teams in the Premier League have periods of just switching off? I mean, I know Spurs did it every bloody game last year, but it doesn't mean that other teams aren't doing it from time. And I mean just switching off, not being crap or things not coming off, but not on it. Too cool for school, man. Steve Perriman's words. Southeast Coast, I can see France when it's a clear day like today. Cool, man. Very cool. Very entertaining, Paul. Thank you very much, man. That's cool. Well, the longer you lot chat, the longer I'll stick around. If it dries up, then I've got nothing. I've got nothing. I'm relying on you lot to inspire me. I can't just think. I can come up with about maybe 10 or 15 minutes of shit on my own, and then I just like run out of steam. So you lot are doing really well tonight. Thanks, everyone. It's great. It's good fun. Oh, okay. Bit of hot breaking speculation. Dave Boy Jr. Paris Saint-Germain are in advanced negotiations to sign Mallorca's Kang In Lee for 15 million euros. Miss out another star. I don't know. Was someone you were keen on? Sounds like you're disappointed there, mate. But it's not going to like whatever player you've got your eye on. We're probably going to miss out on. I reckon Ange is going to have a few surprises up his sleeve. You never know. A few surprises. I trust Ange to get this sorted out. Born to lose. Good to see you, man. Good morning, Paul. Everyone in the chat. Sorry, a bit of my beard came off into my mouth. Yeah. So Steve's saying my favourite football league to watch is League One. Is that right? Okay, crazy fans, back and forth football, loads of young players developing and showing quality. Well, I suppose because I haven't watched much French football at all. Bought a new nicotine supplement. I ran out this morning. I was getting twitchy. I suppose then French La Liga, or not La Liga, League One suffers from the same reputation, a similar reputation that perhaps Scottish football has. That France is a one-horse race most years. It's Paris Saint-Germain, and so then people assume that the league's shit. Just like in Scotland, it's either Celtic or Rangers, so you assume the league's shit. So what I guess you're saying is it might be Paris Saint-Germain, but there's a lot of good football to be seen in all the other games, like I think there is in Scotland. I might have to check some out, man. Do you have a particular team you follow, or are you like a bit of a glory hunter with PSG there? And I'm going to keep watching a bit of Scottish football. I think England. A lot of people in England are a bit too snobby about it, a bit too cool for school. Liam, Arthur Rowe was the one who credited Push and Run. Oh, he credited to Peter McWilliam. I read that in a book. Okay, so Peter McWilliam. Well, like my Spurs history, like pre-war, is a bit sketchy. I mean, I know when we won certain things and major events, but personnel and stuff, I haven't gone back that far. So, okay, Arthur Rowe actually credited to Peter McWilliam. Brilliant, amazing. See, I love hearing shit like that. We don't hear enough about history in football anymore. It's all cult of the new. I like because it's an old game. It's a rich old game, and I find learning stuff like that, it just adds the fabric of it, the magic of the whole thing. I find it very, very. I find like what you've told me there, Liam. It's tickled my fancy way more than any statistic ever could. Just a simple thing that I didn't know. It's kind of getting my cogs turning. Maybe I should actually. I mean, you wouldn't happen to know off the top of your head what that book was. Someone the other night gave me a good recommendation, which I'm looking up for a book about John White called The Ghost. which I was looking a bit more up about today. So it was written by his son. So John White was a winger for Spurs who was sadly struck by lightning at the age of 27 while playing golf. I mean, talk about sometimes your numbers up, I guess. But his son was young, barely remembered him. So the book is written by his son about his journey to find out more about his father. So that sounds really interesting to me. So if you've got a book recommendation, I can stick that on my list because, excuse me, I do a fair bit of reading, man. So a lot more action and aggression in Scottish football absolutely appeals to me also. There really is, isn't there? And this is the thing that like English fans, and I'm stereotyping because basically I've heard this from so many English fans, is that they ignore the fact that every time Celtic and Rangers are playing one of these little teams, the other teams are just trying to kick the fuck out of them. It's like a cup final for them. So there is so much passion and intensity, and Celtic and Rangers, yeah, they win everything, but that doesn't mean they don't have to be on it every bloody week because if they're not, they will get beaten by some of these, like a Ross County once in a while, something like that. They will come a cropper. I actually enjoy watching League Two from time to time. Yeah, I've watched a bit of conference and League Two last season, just bits and pieces here and there. Um, you get some really boring football, but often it's quite end-to-end stuff. Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. And there's no VAR, which uh, which I think is really, really great. Oh my God, here we go. Books, here we go. Read The Glory Game by Hunter Davies, the first inside story of a football team. This was the yeah. I read this bloody years ago. I think I read this was when I was a kid. This was when he was following around. This is the '60s Spurs team, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah. God, it's a long time since I've read it though. Is that the one I'm thinking of? He actually followed them around, didn't he? Okay, just talking to each other. That's cool. Moondog, I hate socks pulled up over the knees. I hate gloves, and I also hate Oscar-winning diving and rolling around in this modern day. Bring back goalkeepers not wearing gloves. I suppose Ditchburn didn't wear gloves, did he? I've not seen much of this Ditchburn play, but I've seen from comments here, and I've seen from because to me, Pat Jennings, Pat Jennings and Ray Clements would be the two, and I'd always give it to Pat Jennings. Uh, but people that were around and actually saw Ditchburn back in the day would give it a Ditchburn. So I mean, he must have been bloody sensational, that guy. Yeah, socks pulled up over the knees. Yeah, gloves. Okay, keepers not wearing gloves. I mean, it'd be nice though, wouldn't it? Look, I'll tell you what. If we could dream, why not? Why not? But people, when I see players in the outfield not wearing gloves, doesn't that just send a signal to the other team? That's what I'd be thinking if I was playing. Any sign of any sign of softness gives a bit of fuel in the other team's fire. So I hate gloves out on the pitch. I hate long sleeves as well. Fuck that, man. I don't care what the weather is. You don't wear long sleeves when you're out there. It's short sleeves. You know, it's it's it, it's turning away from being, a real man's game. You know, where like when you watch older games, what I find interesting is what I like about watching older football, and I'll probably for this I'll be going back earlier, like the early '80s would have been kind of towards the end of this period. So prior to the early '80s, so I really like '70s and things like that. To me, football players they they were really identifiable. You could identify with them because they kind of look like normal blokes, if you know what I mean. They look like blokes you would see down the pub or walking down the street or whatever. They just look like normal guys, and some of them were big. They weren't all like prime physique, but they could all really put a shift of football in. Whereas now, I look at modern footballers. all their physiques are basically very, very similar. There's no variation. They all look like male models. I don't know if they've been like, bred. They've all come. They all look like perfect. They don't look like they've had any like rough shit in their lives. And I know some of them have. Don't get me wrong. I know some of them. It's still the case. A lot of footballers will come out of, poorer areas or whatever, but somehow they get into this football machine and they look like male models. And I prefer like, a bit of Nobby Stiles with no teeth. I like a bit of Alan Gazille with just mad stupid hair, bald head and, nutcases. That's what I want. Normal looking people. Born to lose, I think these players are a lot fitter. Of course they are, yeah, no doubt about that. But generally less skillful, yeah. Than the 90s, yeah. I mean, look, I don't even think you've got to go back that far, mate. I mean, you're definitely right there. But even if you go back, 10 or 20 years, the likes of a Zidane, people like that, where are they? The Ballon d'Or, Messi and Ronaldo. Well, they've been around for bloody years. Who's next? Modric. He's like in his mid to late 30s. So where's what are they being replaced by? How come it's the same bloody players up for these awards every year? And they're coming towards the end of their careers. Benzema, how old's that guy? Oh no, oh no, Queen Ellie's. I can see the hieroglyphs already, man. I can see the hieroglyphs and the shorthand. But okay, let's have a go here. Okay, hey, Hotspur hippie. That's what HH means. By the way, good morning, Your Highness. The hippiest hipster I know. You're too cool for school. As long as you give us 10 to 15 minutes of shit, that's cool by me. But I know you have more cool chat to spill. I've been talking shit all my life, man. I said this before. When I was going up the coast with a mate of mine. We're sitting in the car talking shit about all sorts of shit, mainly sport and women and music. And I just turned and I said, mate, we're in our 50s and we haven't run out of shit to talk about. It just never gets old, does it? Just talking bollocks, just absolute rubbish, low stakes rubbish. Not about changing the world, and people like to go off on conspiracies and political parties and the economics. I don't care about any of that shit. I just like talking crap. Liam, okay, this is according to Liam. Ange wants to bring in Rio Hitate. Good player. I'd be fully on board with that. Great little player. I agree, man. I agree, man. Ange really assembled at Celtic a right bunch of engines that just didn't stop, and that's what he drummed into them. They were all over the pitch, and this is what I liked about their style of play, which is why I get confused by tactics, because to me they're all running all over the place. It's like chaos. But what they're doing is they're all kind of finding space, making themselves available for each other, getting it up the front and banging it in the goal. As I said, not a hard game. Yeah, no, that'd be interesting. Interesting. And like and it's not like I mean we would also see some improvement from our own players. God, I'm getting a dry throat here. But like Callum McGregor, the player that Ange helped Callum McGregor to be at Celtic is amazing. I mean, not that I'm saying he was, crap or anything like that, but Callum McGregor became the linchpin of the whole thing. Like that, just in front of defence, midfield, controlled the tempo where the ball's going next, keeping people on their toes. He was like Ange on the pitch almost. So who knows if one of our players might suddenly blossom under Ange. That'd be nice to see. Okay, okay. Dear oh dear, I'm no Sherlock Holmes or Columbo, mate. So would you believe Strasbourg Steve supports RC Strasbourg? Who? My great-grandparents were Alsatian, northeast of France. That's as good as reason as any, isn't it, really? Good as reason. Is that where you are at the moment? You're in Canada at the moment, are you? So you like in if you're in Canada, would you be in Quebec or somewhere like that? Anyway, it's personal information. We all, don't reveal too much on the internet. Everything you say can and will be used against you, even though I sing like a canary. Jose Gasea, you need congratulating as you were a one-man mission on the THST community that promoted Ange the message. You're a trailblazer. Look, man, look. How can I? Or it's just because I saw him. That's all. That's all. It's just because I saw him, and I guess I wanted. Why? I mean, not that anyone. I mean, lots of people wanted Nagelsmann and Slot, and some people wanted Ange as well. I don't think I was the only one. But really, that would have had no effect on the decision made. But really, I just, I went out to a few places because I was hoping it would really happen. And I guess if it ended up happening, I didn't know if it was likely or not. I just wanted, maybe people to be ready for it. That was the thing. That was the thing, and get excited about the guy and what he can do at Tottenham because I am excited. I really am. Like I keep saying, I don't think we're making. I genuinely 100% believe that Ange is one of the top coaches in world football anywhere on the planet, anywhere. And I think he's going to show us that. I don't think he's you know a poor man's choice. I think we're bloody fortunate to get a guy like that. It's kind of only the circumstance. Like if Ange had been born in Europe, well, he was born in Europe. If he'd have stayed in Europe, then we wouldn't even be having this discussion, and he probably would be managing Barcelona or Real Madrid by now. It's only that the poor bugger had the misfortune to come to a non-football country, and he had to work his way up the hard way. But the skill for me is still the same. So, you know, that's why I keep saying if anyone can, Ange can, because he really is that good. Really is that good. That was you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, now I'm on it, man. I've started looking up reviews and stuff to find out more about it, and I'm just gonna, you know, uh, you know, when I've got a few spare quid, go and get it. Liam, the book is called The Biography of Tottenham Hotspur. Quite an enjoyable read. Football, is that right? Okay, let me just make a note of this one. Excuse me, I've got to put this in my list because I will forget, man. I've got to put it in the same list that I put the Ghost in. So it's just the biography of Tottenham Hotspur. Okay. There we go. Easy read. Yeah. That helps, man. That helps me. Um, Football history is indeed a wonderful thing. Always brings a smile when I pick up little nuggets of history. Yeah, I get off on it, man. It's great, isn't it? And it's like you will never ever know everything. It's like I find it's the same to me as my other love, which is music. Just when I think I've heard it all, I hear something that pricks my ears up. You know, I quite like I like music that's played on instruments. I do like some electronic music, but and I do like a bit of hip hop, older hip hop. But I find the newer music doesn't do anything for me because it's all been squashed. It's been made perfect. They've got these advanced computer tools, and I've used some of them myself when I've just been mucking around with my own music, and I get it because it is very tempting to iron out every little quirk and mistake and make it perfect. But when you do that, you take the humanity out of it for me. And so when I hear music these days, to me it sounds like music, but it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't move me at all. So I'm more into, I'd say music pre 2000, going back to the 60s and beyond, even further back than that. And sometimes I come across a band that was around in the 60s that I've never bloody heard of, and they sound fantastic. You know, they didn't have any major hits or anything, but they're still great. And that's the way I feel about football. Sometimes you can never know it all, so it's a never-ending journey. You know, it's fun. It's fun. And then can share that and talk about it with other people. They definitely need to do a bit more to honour our history at the new stadium, like a mural. It's a no-brainer, man. There was a question in the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust survey about that kind of thing, and I was just ticking every bloody box on that. You know, and they said, "What else can we do?" And I just said, "Statue of Bill Nicholson." I mean, it's a complete no-brainer to me. It's if you're going to do nothing else, just do a statue of Bill Nicholson. I don't get why they don't. Well, I do get why they don't, but it's wrong. Yeah, and I get a kick of sharing it on. You know, sharing it on. Like when it's pretty easy to do. You know, I've got a close friend here, and like he's more into rugby league, and I'm more into football. You know, Tottenham, and he's in St George. And we kind of support each other's teams now. But you know, he'll give me little nuggets and facts about St George, and I find that interesting. And I tell him about Tottenham, and you know, I mean, we're both really supporting clubs that primes were both before we were born, which is unfortunate. But it don't mean that the good days can't come back. Liam says I contacted the trust a few years ago to put some ideas in for an Arthur Rowe memorial. Yeah, why not? But don't think anything will ever come of it. Yeah, well, keep plugging away. I mean, I say Bill Nicholson, but you know, Fitzwilliam or Arthur Rowe or whoever the bloody hell. You know, whoever it is, so long as it's someone historical. That's why I was absolutely shocked when Levy said build a Harry Kane statue. It's like, no, you don't get it, man. That's not history. That's now. He's there now playing. And like, if he retires, I don't want to see a statue of him next year. Well, Liz, it's year zero when the Premier League started as far as broadcasters and the media are concerned. That's right, man. No sense of pre-1992 history. I don't understand why, man. I get it that we're in the Premier League now, but it is such a big bloody brand. Why you know? What can't the Premier League just stand on its own in conjunction with history? Is it that insecure that they have to wipe everything out? Surely they can have things from the past in there. It doesn't take away from what's happening today. And sure, if you have you know, show a table of league scorers and you got like Dixie Dean and all that up there, that doesn't take away from today. It gives you something to go for, doesn't it? You know, it gives you that kind of unattainable, maybe not unattainable, but that dream to go for. That's the best. That is the number one. Queen Ellie, I have a great book, Paul. My brother gave it to me before he passed away, and I'll cherish it. As Bill Nicholson signed it, get out of here. And Jimmy Greaves, you've got a book signed by Bill Nick and Jimmy Greaves? No way, man. The Glory Game, that same book. Yeah. Far out, dude. That's something you never want to get rid of. Like one of my treasured possessions is the 1967 FA Cup final single. It's not signed by anyone or anything like that, but it's just you know, it's just a little moment in time, isn't it? It's like a Cockney knees up with Terry Venables taking the lead role and some pretty non-PC comments about the Irish players, which they all seem to laugh about. But you know, poor Terry, come on, man. But I suppose they were having a laugh. 90s long sleeve kits were gorgeous. Bollocks, they were. No, they weren't. Queen Ellie players in my era took on their players more and had more skill sets that were geared to get the ball forward, and those skills were more developed. I know, man. It's not hard, is it? This is the theme for the day. I was probably getting down this track, but you lot have like got down this track as well because I had a good old chat with Irish Hotspur. This is the sort of shit we were talking. You know, football isn't a hard game. Take players on. Why not take a player on? I know it's easier to destroy than create, but if you don't try and create, what are you doing? Uh, Blind Assabat. Jim McLean famously said, "I need to drop a good footballer for an athlete." So who's Jim McLean? I should probably know that name. I need to drop a good footballer for an athlete. I'm not quite. I'm not. Sorry, man. I might be. My brain might be going fuzzy, but I'm not quite getting the gist of that one. Like, if you don't want to explain it, don't. I'm probably just being as dumb as Spuds, mate. Ian says my theory is that all sports science emphasis. Oh, see. Even those phrases, man. Even those phrases, they start just clouding me over. I start finding it hard to pay attention. But seeing it as it's you, because I know you're going to come up with something good here, man. My theory is that all sports science emphasis and data-driven approaches to football coaching stifles natural talent, and football expression. Not to say there is no place for it, but it does take over. Yeah, I mean, look, I suppose if you like, a bit of nutrition, okay, because everyone used to have steak and chips before dinner, before a match. And maybe a bit of data. I don't know what would be useful data. I don't know, but it's too much, isn't it? It really is too much, and it does stifle natural talent. You know, what stats did you need to know about Paul Gascoigne, or George Best, or John Robertson, or Archie Gemmell? You know, I'm trying to make it non-Tottenham specific here, but all these players, what stats would you need to know about those guys? Nothing, nothing at all. I mean, if they were playing in today's modern game, I think you're right, Liam. I think they wouldn't be the players they were. It would be drummed out of them. You need to get your high intensity runs up, huh? Jim McLean said he needed. Okay, so all right, all right. You're going to spoon feed me, cool man. Jim McLean said he needed to drop a good footballer for an athlete. The overnight game will have no character. He was correct. Okay, yeah. Characterless, really is. Bentancur, Callum McGregor, not a bad shout. I think, I'm actually hopeful about Bentancur. I'm no medical expert. Given the hammer, says Doctor Hotspur. Ah, I actually hit my thumb a bit hard there. Um, but my understanding from friends of mine who've done ACLs and this is basically when I used to do a lot of like competitive skiing and stuff, is that okay, you're going to be out for a while, right? You're going to be out for a while it all knits up and all that, but you can come back as good as you were before. It's not like you've developed a particular weakness. It can be, pretty much as strong as it was before. So I think he's going to come back just as good. I'm not, that's just what I've seen from people I know that have had similar injuries. I mean, there was one guy that basically had he almost had no knee at one point until he got it reconstructed, and when he recovered, which did take a long time, it it was like there was no injury ever happened. So I'm hoping that'll be the case with Bentancur. Could he be our Callum McGregor? Well, he's very comfortable on the ball, unlike a lot of our players. He was really starting to flourish before he went down. And when I say he went down, I mean that's a proper injury, isn't it? That's not a Hugo Lloris injury. Oh, New Hampshire. Oh yeah, I've asked you that before, man. Sorry, man. Crappy memory. Bentancur, if Harry Kane isn't there, would be the only possible captain candidate. Yeah. At the moment, shame about his injury. I think he might even be a bit. See, the problem I have with Harry Kane being captain, he's up there, isn't he? He's up over there. Um, so if he's going to be captaining, he's going to be having to focus backwards. Where if it's someone like a defender, which we don't have, but or a Bentancur, could be a good shout. I don't know what his personality is like or anything like that. Whether he's got the chops, he might have, but he's kind of he's in the right area of the park, isn't he? What's Ellie just sending me here? Hang on, just talk amongst yourselves a bit. When Queen Ellie sends me a message, who am I to? Oh, she's just plugging her breakfast show. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so what I'm saying is here, the skipper, I think, has got to be in the right area of the pitch to do a good job. So Bentancur is, almost ideal, isn't it? If he's capable of it, why not? Low Older Music, Queen's one of my favourite bands. Yeah, I mean, I like some Queen, but you're in. Look, at least you're talking about proper music, aren't you? And when you're talking about proper music, there's something for everyone. There's no rights and wrongs about it. I do like some Queen, like Night at the Opera's all right. Don't mind that. Blind About from BB King. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, what was my favourite BB King song is Never, Never. I like it because it's got a really good bass line that I like playing. Never, da 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 da. Ah, I'll tell you what, I'll just put that in the back of my head. It will pop out later, something like that. I'll tell you what, I'm curious. No, it would be on my on shit that I've listened to. Uh, Switch account. Oh, I had account. I don't have to bloody do all the signing shit, do I? Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Okay, and then I'm going to check my phone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry about this. I know this is riveting stuff here. Yeah, safe password. BB King. Never. Oh. Look, no, it's taken me too long. I'm all fingers and thumbs, but it's never something. But it's bloody good. Nirvana. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I think music. You could see that like there was a progression up until the 90s. Every decade has had its own style. From I could go back to the 20s, like jazz. I used to like a bit of old jazz, like Frank Teschmacher and Stefan Grappelli and Django Reinhardt or whatever. But each decade kind of had its own flavour to it. 90s had its own flavour to it, and then 2000 onwards, it's like you're a guitarist, all right, you're a proper musician. So I'm biased. Modern music is bland, and that's a crime. It really is. But that's what sells. It's easy, isn't it? Like you look at the songwriting credits of hit records now, they've got like 10 songwriters now because what they do is they'll have some lyrics and they'll just like crowdsource it. So they'll send it out to all these people and they'll all write what the music they reckon, and then some suit in a stuffed shirt will just pick, okay, a bit from column A, a bit from column B, a bit from column C to make it like catchy and sellable. But there's no guts there. There's no tone or emotion. You're right, man. Oh, we're going to start talking about football. Here we go. Dundee United management. What about Alex Ferguson? Yeah, feared and respected. He punched a reporter for asking stupid questions. Yeah, yeah. He didn't do it again, I bet. Moondive, I don't need to see any data or stats. I can look at a player and see if he's any good. Yeah, I never bother with it. I never bother. Like when I'm watching, when I'm watching Spurs, I can easily see who's shit and who's not. And I'll see people argue the toss. Well, actually, they're not shit because they had, I don't know, 2 goal creating chances, shots, things. I don't know, but they were shit. Can't remember stats being that important in Maradona's career. Well, there's another one, isn't there? The Brazil team of 1982, Socrates, Falcao, Jairzinho was earlier, wasn't he? What stats did they bloody need? None. Ellie, plug your link. Oh, I could do it. I think. Can I? I'd have to email it from my phone to. What channel is it on? Is it on THFC Till I Die? It's on THFC Till I Die. I can do that. All right. She's probably already done it because I'm a bit behind on the comments. But so Ellie does a special on the ladies' side of football, women's football. She's got a regular spot doing it. She's probably struggling for material more than me. I mean, there's bugger all in our neck of the woods. I wouldn't have thought it would be any different in the women's game. Here we go. Here's the link. There you go. That's Ellie's show. Cockerel chorus, nice one, Cyril. Yeah, man. Moondog, that's the one. Never make you move too soon. Thank you. That was it. That's it, man. That was the one. It's got a brilliant bass line. Because it goes up, it's 2 octaves, man. So you can, it's like your whole frets at work, you know. It's great. Love it. In the key of F. Hey, g'day, Chris. How you going, man? Nice to see you. And here we go. We've caught up. We've caught up. There we go. Is that it? I've been going 2 hours. Am I pulling up stumps? What time is it in Australia? 7:15. So that means it's 10:15 in England. Middle of the bloody night in America. And in the afternoon in Asia. So, here we go. Yeah, okay, if Moondog's going, there we go. That's it. Moondog, you're my litmus test. If you're going, I'm going, man. So, once again, thanks everyone for having a chat. I really enjoyed that. I mean, if I'm having this much fun when there's really nothing to talk about, when we got football to talk about, which at least we'll have some football to talk about starting on Thursday. I think it's going to be more fun. And when the season starts, I'm itching for it, man. I'm itching. I just want to see what Ange can do, man. I just want to see you're just going to see a whole different demeanour about that bloody team. It's going to be so much better than last year. All right. See you, Born, see you, Liam there. Bye, everyone. And here we go. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Ange we trust. And I'll just click the end broadcast button.